It was not the Torah that was not lasting, it was what? Yeah. Moses' administration over the Torah.
That's it. There's the key.
Because let's be honest, Moses not only hit the rock twice, he was a chronic complainer. Can we talk? We tend to blame the people of Israel about complaining. They were always complaining. Go back to Moshe in Egypt, not enough meat, not enough variety, too much manna, right? The people of Israel were always complaining. But, excuse me, Moshe did his fair share of complaining to Yahweh too. He was supposed to be administrating the Torah, but he was also a complainer.
I can't talk straight.
I can't talk. Who am I? What about this people? Yahweh, I'm suffering from depression and I ran out of Vicodin and Valium. Kill me, please. Kill me. Have mercy on the people. Yahweh says, shut up. Stop complaining. I'll have mercy to whom I'll have mercy.
Amen.
I'll have rachamim to whom I'll have rachamim.
Amen.
I will do the judging. You parrot what I say to you.
Amen.
You don't have to judge everything I'm saying. You do what you're told and parrot what I'm telling you.
Keep it moving.
So it wasn't just the people of Israel who had a problem kvetching. Even our great administrator of the Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu, he was a chronic kvetcher. So we're like Moshe Rabbeinu. I used to have one lady tell me, I don't have, Jewish lady, matter of fact, I don't have to tithe. I said, you don't? I'm Jewish. I don't. But how do you figure you don't have to tithe? Just because you're Jewish doesn't mean you don't tithe, right? She goes, I don't, I come, I go shopping, I buy bagels and cream cheese, I buy chive, I buy gefilte fish, and I put in the receipt, I put in when the pushki come into my home and they come into my seat, I put in the receipt. So she thought, and instead of tithing, she could buy bagels, cream cheese, and gefilte fish, and by putting in the receipt, that was a tithe.
Right.
Now, if you want to buy bagels and cream cheese, go ahead. Go ahead. But don't call that a tithe. The rabbi didn't ask you to buy bagels. You wanted to buy bagels. Anyway, how I got started, don't ask me. Don't even ask me how I got there. Look at verse 13. And not as Moshe, who put a veil over his face so that Israel would not look at his administration, because he knew that it would not last forever. Do you understand what I'm saying here, Bruno? Moses knew that the way he was administrating the Torah was not forever. That there was a new administration coming. And if you're hearing don't do Torah, you're hearing right. Don't do Torah until you are able to forgive and have forbearance and overlook faults, not 1 times 1, but 70 times 70. Then you can start studying the Torah and administering the Torah to other people. Just because you forgave someone 5 years ago doesn't mean you're a disciple. It means time has erased your wounds. 70 times. You know what the secret to our marriage is? Rivka and I? 70 times 7. It's not, you married folks know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
It's non-stop. You need forgiveness 3, 4, 5 times a day, not once a week.
True. True.
It's amazing what us husbands will do to have peace with our wives. Okay. Honey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, honey. Hoping the honey will go into the other room so we can watch the football game. Honey, I'm sorry. Please get the heck out of here. The game's starting. I'm sorry. Yeah, so move on, move on. But when the man of Yahweh, let's assume Moshe Konachowski is the man of Yahweh, or let's assume it's Earl Anthony, the great bowler, became a preacher. Earl Anthony is now the man of Yahweh. And Earl Anthony has taught and done this good, and he's made 100 disciples, and 1,000 people came to Yeshua, and he built a kibbutz in Israel, and he's taking care of orphans and widows in Israel, and the Israeli government loves him even though he's a Messianic, okay? And Earl Anthony teaches something that's socially unacceptable, and it challenges people in their PO that they haven't received the revelation, and so they know that they can't stay married unless they're constantly asking their wives to forgive them and husbands to forgive them. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But when Earl Anthony needs a little grace, or Earl Anthony needs a little rachamim, there's no rachamim to be found.
Of course not.
You with me, Chris? In other words, it's grace to me, law to you. In other words, there's blood in the pew, there's the atoning blood of Yeshua in the pew, but there's none available for the man or the woman in the pulpit. Religious hypocrites.
Exactly.
See what I mean? There's a blood of atonement in the pew, but there's no blood of atonement it's not available for the man or the woman. And so if we acted toward Pastor Earl Anthony the way we act, if we acted toward our husbands and our wives the way we act toward Earl Anthony, how long would you stay married, ladies? 5 minutes? 30 seconds? A nanosecond? You know why we are constantly forgiving our husbands and wives? Because we don't want to wind up in a mental institution. Right? I'm sorry, we want peace at home. The greatest thing a man wants, the greatest thing a man can desire is peace. No fighting. My home is my castle. But in order to have peace, he's got to administer forgiveness, not once every 100 years, but daily, hourly, constantly, without end. It's an administration, not of the letter, but of the Ruach. But when it comes to forgiving and to letting Pastor Anthony have a little bit of that rachamim, they do it once. I forgave Pastor Anthony 5 years ago, and I'm never forgiving him again. Because I forgave him once. If you forgave your husband once, you would not be married right now. You're forgiving him and you're forgiving her 70 times 70 times 70 times 70. Can I hear a good amen?
Amen.
Can I hear a very good amen?
Very good, amen.
I know what I'm talking about.
Yes, you do.
We need to start treating our leaders like we treat our wives. I won't go on because it'll seem self-serving, but the principle is true.
Yes, it is.
The only reason we can succeed in our marriage is we are administering our Yahweh's Torah through the Ruach and not through a fading glory. My. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Because if Rivka and I forgave each other once a month, we would not be married. I can assure you that.
I hear you.
It's more like once every half hour.
Amen.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So we're not to be like sharing Yahweh's Torah, like the administration of Moshe Rabbeinu, who knew, he covered his face, he didn't want people trusting his administration, because he knew that his administration of the Torah was not lasting. And in verse 10, there was a greater administration that would exceed his administration, and that administration would remain and would be full of love and rachamim. And in that day, in that day, the people of Yahweh would learn, go and learn what this means. I desire rachamim and not Torah learning. Does any of this make sense?
Yes.
Any of this make sense? If you use the Torah to become a better person, more like Yeshua, more loving, compassionate, now you are ready to learn Torah, because when you learn it, you're going to administer it the way Yahweh administered it to you. How did Yahweh administer it to you? In love and rachamim. You'll be able to administrate it to others in love and rachamim. But our husbands are guilty of this, and so are wives. They learn something in the Torah, they come home, and they want their wives to immediately obey something in the Torah, so they start administering it in roughness and in the flesh. You with me, Brother Chris? And that's not how Yahweh administers it to what? to us. Can I hear a good amen? I'm enjoying preaching today.
Oh, yeah.
I may not finish.